Welcome to my channel. Do you want to sleep better and learn English faster at the same time? Every night, many learners feel this. I want to improve my English, but I'm too tired. They scroll. They feel guilty. They don't know where to start. But what if I told you? The secret is simple. Just one small habit before bed can change your English forever. Read one easy book every night before sleep. That's what I did. And my English changed forever. Do you have this problem? Wanting to learn English, but not knowing what to read at night? Comment below. Yes or no? Do you read before sleep? Now, let me take you on a journey. 7 chapters, 7 lessons, and the best books that helped me fall asleep peacefully and wake up better in English. Chapter 1. My first English book was a surprise. I did not plan to read in English. One night, I just could not sleep. My mind was full of thoughts. I wanted to relax. I did not want to scroll my phone again. I was tired of that. I looked at my small bookshelf. There was one book in English. It was a children's book. It had pictures. The title was The Very Hungry Caterpillar. I did not know many English words, but the pictures looked nice. I opened the book, and something changed. The first sentence was simple. In the light of the moon, a little egg lay on a leaf. I read it again, slowly, word by word. It felt soft, gentle. I did not understand everything, but I felt something. I smiled. The caterpillar was born. He ate apples. He ate pears. I read each page. I looked at the pictures. I repeated the words out loud. He was still hungry. That sentence stayed in my mind. I closed the book. I turned off the light. I slept like a baby. The next morning, I remembered that sentence. He was still hungry. I said it again. It felt nice. Simple. Clear. That night, I read the book again. The same one. I already knew the story. But this time, the words felt easier. I said them with more confidence. I even laughed when the caterpillar ate too much cake and got a stomachache. It became my bedtime habit. Just one book. Just a few pages. Every night. I read the same book for many days. I was not bored. I was learning. Slowly. Gently. With no pressure. Just joy. Before this, I thought English books were hard. I thought only smart people could read them. But this book was small. Kind. It did not make me feel stupid. It made me feel safe. I started to love English, not because of school, not because of grammar, but because of one little caterpillar. I told my friend about the book. She said, "That's for kids." I smiled. "Yes," I said, "but this kid's book is helping me sleep, and helping me learn English." She asked to borrow it. The next week, she bought her own. I think many learners are like me. They feel shy to read simple books. They want to jump to big novels. They want to read Harry Potter or Jane Austen. But those books are hard in the beginning. They take energy. They make your head tired. But bedtime is not for pressure. It is for peace. So I started with peace. Later, I found more books like that. Brown Bear, what do you see? I loved the colors. I loved the rhythm. Goodnight Moon. It made me feel like a child again, calm and safe. These books were not just for children. They were for my English soul. Each night, I opened a book. Each night, I felt a little stronger in English. I didn't know all the words, but I knew the feeling. I trusted the pictures. I trusted the story. And I trusted myself. Something else started to happen. My fear of English went away. These books were like soft teachers. They never shouted. They never made me feel wrong. I could go back and read again and again. No judgment. Just learning. After 2 weeks, I noticed something. I was speaking better. My sentences were smoother. My tongue moved faster. My brain started to think in English pictures. I said, "The sun came up," just like in the book. I said, "I'm still hungry," and smiled. I was using book English in real life. Reading before bed became my secret tool. It was quiet, easy, powerful. And that little caterpillar? He changed my life. He showed me the way. Not fast, not perfect, but soft, slow, simple, with love. If you are just starting to learn English, I want to tell you this. Do not feel shy to read baby books. They are not baby books. They are beginner books. And beginners are brave. Because they are starting something new. I started with one book, one page, one sentence. And now I am here, speaking to you. Your English journey can also begin tonight. Just open one book. Let it surprise you. Let it speak to your heart. Let it help you sleep and grow. Chapter 2. The Power of Simple Stories. I used to think learning English meant studying hard. Grammar books, long lists of words, difficult rules. That's what I thought. That's what many people think. But I was wrong. One night, something changed inside me. I read a story. A very simple one. It had short sentences. It had pictures. It did not talk about grammar. It just told a story. A very simple story. And somehow, that story stayed in my mind. It touched me in a way no textbook ever did. I felt calm. I felt happy. I felt like English was finally becoming my friend. The story was about a little frog. He was scared to swim. His friend, a toad, helped him. That's it. That was the whole story. But when I closed the book, I felt something deep. I remembered when I was scared. I remembered when someone helped me. And without knowing, I had just learned new English words. Swim, water, scared, friend. These words were now in my heart. Not just in my head. I realized something that day. Stories have power. Not because they are long. Not because they are full of hard words. But because they speak to our feelings. And feelings are strong. When a story touches your heart, you don't forget it. You remember it. You live with it. You speak it. I started to collect simple storybooks. Easy English. Short sentences. Small books. I found Frog and Toad are friends. I found Amelia Bedelia. I found Little Bear. All these books were for children. But I was not embarrassed. I was excited. These books made me feel alive. And I was learning English without pain. Many people think they must read big books to learn fast. But that is not true. If the book is too hard, your mind gets tired. You read one page, and you stop. You feel lost. You feel sad. You feel like giving up. But with simple stories, you feel different. You finish one story. You smile. You want more. Your brain is happy. And when your brain is happy, it learns better. At night, your brain is slow. It is not ready to work hard. But it is ready to dream. It is ready to feel. That is the perfect time for a story. A bedtime story. When I read stories at night, I sleep better. My mind becomes soft. The stress goes away. And while I sleep, the words stay inside me. I don't even try to remember them. But the next day, they are still there. That is the power of sleep. And the power of simple stories. I remember one night, I read a story about a lost puppy. He couldn't find his way home. He walked through the forest. He was scared. But in the end, he found a warm house. Someone gave him food. Someone gave him love. I cried that night. It was just a small story, but it touched my heart. And it taught me words I will never forget. Lost. forest, warm, love. These words became a part of me. That's what stories do. They don't just teach. They stay. I want to tell you something important. Do not feel shy to read simple books. You are not a child. You are a beginner. And beginners are strong. They start when it's hard. They continue when it's slow. They grow with small steps. And simple stories help you take those steps. One by one. If you read 10 grammar pages, maybe you will forget them tomorrow. But if you read one good story, maybe you will remember it forever. That is the difference. That is the secret. That is the power of stories. Especially at night. So I made a new rule for myself. No phones before bed. No social media. No stress. Just one story. One book. One page. That is enough. That is strong. That is good. Sometimes, I read a funny story. I laugh before sleep. Sometimes, I read a sad one. I feel something deep. But every time, I grow. My English grows. My heart grows. Simple stories. Small books. Easy words. Big results. That is how I learn. And that is how you can learn too. Read with feeling. Read with peace. And let the story become your teacher. Every night. Every page. Every word. You are not just reading. You are changing. Chapter 3. One page a night changed everything. In the beginning, I wanted to do too much. I thought, if I read more, I will learn faster. So I tried to read 10 pages. Then 20. But soon I was tired. My head hurt. I forgot what I read. My heart said stop. I was not enjoying it. I felt pressure. I felt like I was doing homework. Not like reading a story. One night, I was very tired. I had a long day. My eyes were heavy. I did not want to study. But I did not want to skip English either. So I opened my book. I said, just one page tonight. Only one. I read it slowly. I read it with care. I read it with my heart. It was a small story about a girl and her cat. The girl lost the cat in the park. She looked everywhere. At the end of the page, she sat on a bench and cried. That was it. Just one page. But when I closed the book, I felt something. I could still see the girl in the park. I could feel her sadness. I could imagine the lost cat. I was not just reading English. I was living the story. And I only read one page. That was the night I understood something big. You don't need to read a lot. You just need to read deeply. With love. With focus. With emotion. From that night, I changed my routine. I stopped counting pages. I started counting feelings. Did I feel something? Did I learn one word? Did I enjoy one sentence? That was enough for me. One page a night. Every night. Slowly. Gently. Honestly. And something magical happened. My English improved faster. My memory became stronger. My fear became smaller. I started to love my routine. I looked forward to bedtime. Not just for sleep, but for my one page. It became my gift to myself. My peace. My moment. Just me, my story, and silence. Sometimes, the page made me smile. Sometimes, it made me cry. But every time, it taught me something new. A word. A feeling. A way to speak. I did not even try to memorize anything. But the next day, the words came back to me. In my mind. In my speech. In my dreams. One page a night was not slow. It was smart. It was kind. It was deep. I remember one night, I read a page from a book called The Missing Coin. A girl finds a coin on the street. She gives it to a hungry man. The story was simple. But the message was big. I thought about that story the whole next day. And I used the words find, give, hungry, kind. I used them in real life. Without fear. Without thinking too much. Because they were now part of me. That's the power of one page. It's not how much you read. It's how you read. It's not about speed. It's about love. When you love what you read, you remember it. You carry it. You speak it. So I started telling others. My friends. My classmates. Try one page a night, I said. Some laughed. That's too little. But later, they came back. They said, it works. They felt calm. They felt connected. They felt good. I want you to feel that too. Don't think, I must finish this book tonight. Don't race. Don't stress. Just take one page. Read it slowly. Read it again if you want. Feel the story. Touch the words. Let them stay inside you. Because learning English is not a test. It's a journey. A soft one. And sometimes, one page is the best teacher. That one page can change your whole day. It changed mine. And it can change yours. Chapter 4. When I fell in love with love stories. One night, I was looking for a new book to read before bed. I had already read many stories. Stories about animals. Stories about school. Funny stories. Sad stories. But that night, I found a different kind of story. It was a love story. The title was Love or Money. I opened the first page. I read one paragraph. Then two. Then I stopped. I put my hand on my heart. Because something was different. The words were simple. But they felt deep. I could feel something in my chest. I could feel emotion. And that night, I did not just read a story. I felt it. The story was about a man and a woman. They had a small fight. They wanted love, but also wanted money. It was short. It was easy. But it felt real. The woman cried. The man walked away. I read slowly. I imagined their faces. I imagined their voices. And at the end, I just sat in silence. I looked at the ceiling. I was thinking in English. I was feeling in English. And I wanted more. So I searched for more love stories. I found one called The Last Leaf. A sick girl believed she would die when the last leaf on the tree fell. But a kind artist painted a fake leaf to give her hope. That story broke my heart. It made me cry. It made me love English. The sentences were simple. The wind was strong. But the leaf did not fall. That sentence stayed with me. I kept saying it. I wrote it in my notebook. I repeated it in my mind. I did not try to study. I just loved the story. And that love taught me English. Love stories are powerful. They have feelings. They have heart. They are not just about romance. They are about hope. About pain. About waiting. About losing. About growing. And when you read them, you don't feel like you are learning. But you are. Your heart is learning. Your brain is listening. Your English is growing. I started reading love stories every night. Just one page. Just one moment. But I felt different. I felt close to the characters. I started using their words. I started thinking like them. I started to whisper to myself, I miss you, or I hope you come back, or I love you but I can't tell you. These were not just sentences. They were real emotions. And because I felt them, I remembered them. Some nights, I read The Little Match Girl. A small girl, cold and hungry, dreams of warmth and love. She lights match after match in the snow. The story is simple, but it makes your heart quiet. You close the book, and you feel something deep. That feeling is what makes English stay. Not grammar rules. Not tests. But that soft, sad feeling inside you. When I fell in love with love stories, I also fell in love with the English language. I wanted to read more. I wanted to understand more. I wanted to speak like the people in the books. And I started to speak more softly, more clearly, more kindly, because love stories teach more than English. They teach you how to feel, how to listen, how to wait, how to care. So every night, before sleep, I opened a love story. I turned the page slowly. I read the words like poetry. I did not rush. I did not check the dictionary. I just felt the words. And the next day, those words stayed with me. They lived in my heart. They came out when I spoke. They made my English more natural. Many learners want fast results. They want big words. But big words are nothing if you don't feel them. Love stories help you feel. And when you feel, you remember. And when you remember, you grow. That is why I tell every learner now, read love stories. Not just to learn English, but to feel it, to live it, to become part of it. You don't need to understand every word. You just need to feel the story. That is enough. Love stories changed my English. And they can change yours too. Start with one page. Feel something. Sleep with that feeling. And let your English bloom like a quiet flower in the dark. Chapter 5. My book became my best friend. There was a time in my life when I felt very alone. I was living in a new place. My family was far away. I had no one to speak English with. At school, people were busy. On the street, everyone walked fast. I tried to talk, but I did not know the words. I tried to listen, but I could not understand. I felt small. I felt invisible. I wanted a friend. Someone to sit with me. Someone to talk to me. Someone to listen. But I had no one. One night, I picked up my book. It was a story I had already read many times. A simple story. A girl writes a letter to her grandma. She tells her about school, about her cat, about her dreams. I opened the book again. I read the first line. Then the next. Slowly, gently, and something warm happened in my heart. It felt like the girl was talking to me. It felt like I was not alone. The book became my friend. It did not ask questions. It did not laugh at my mistakes. It did not judge me. It just stayed. It waited. And every night, it spoke to me in soft English. I listened with care. I read the same lines again and again. The words were now familiar. The story was now mine. And in that quiet room, I felt safe. I felt like someone understood me. The world outside was big and cold. But inside my book, everything was gentle. I knew the characters. I knew what would happen. But it still made me happy. Like a song you love to hear again. It gave me peace. And that peace gave me power. I did not feel stupid. I did not feel slow. I felt strong. Because I was learning. Because I was feeling. Because I had a friend. Some nights, I talked to the book. Why is the girl sad today? I asked. Will she be okay tomorrow? I whispered. I was not just reading. I was connecting. I was using English to ask questions. To wonder. To feel. The book was not just paper and words. It was a person. It was a hand holding mine in the dark. I think every learner needs that kind of book. Not just a good book, but the right one. The one that speaks to you. That feels like home. That teaches you gently. When I had no one, my book was there. And slowly, I changed. I became more confident. I started using the words from the book in real life. I spoke them softly at first. Then louder. Then clearly. And one day, someone heard me. They said, "Your English is getting better." I smiled. But deep in my heart, I whispered, Thank you, my book. Because it was my book that helped me the most. It stayed with me when no one else did. It gave me hope. It gave me light. When people ask me, how did you learn English? I tell them, I had a good friend. They think I mean a person. But no. I mean my book. My small, soft, simple book. The one I read every night. The one that never left me. If you are learning English, I want you to find that kind of book. A book you can love. A book you can trust. A book you can return to again and again. It does not have to be big. It does not have to be famous. It just has to feel like a friend. Because when you have a book like that, you are never truly alone. You always have someone to talk to. You always have someone to learn with. You always have someone to remind you, you can do this. So tonight, before you sleep, open your book. Say hello. Say thank you. And begin your journey, one page, one feeling, one peaceful night at a time. Chapter 6. How bedtime reading helped me speak better. For many months, I read English books before sleep. Every night, just one story, one page, one quiet moment with myself. I did not think much about speaking. I just wanted to feel the language, to understand a little more, to feel calm. But something strange started to happen. Something I did not expect. One morning, I opened my mouth, and the words came out. In English. Soft. Natural. Without fear. Without thinking too much. I was surprised. I did not plan to speak. But my mouth already knew the words. I realized that bedtime reading was helping me speak. I didn't practice speaking at night. I didn't repeat out loud. I didn't try hard. I just read. But my brain was learning in silence. My ears were listening. My eyes were seeing the same words again and again. My heart was feeling the stories. And slowly, everything inside me started to work together. I was not learning by force. I was learning by peace. And that kind of learning goes deep. When you read before sleep, your brain remembers more. I read simple stories. Again and again. The same words. The same sentences. At first, I just understood them. Later, I could say them. I could speak with rhythm. With feeling. I didn't memorize. I absorbed. And that made all the difference. One day, I was walking to the store. A woman asked me a question in English. She looked lost. I wanted to help. And without fear, I said, go straight. Then turn left. You will see the bank on the right. She smiled. She thanked me. And I walked away smiling too. I thought, where did those words come from? Then I remembered. I had read a bedtime story about a boy giving directions to a traveler. I had read it many times. The same lines. The same phrases. Now they were in me. They were mine. That's when I understood something big. Reading is not just for reading. It is for speaking too. When you read with feeling, you hear the language inside you. You feel the rhythm. You know how the sentence should sound. And even if you don't speak out loud, your brain is practicing. Your heart is getting ready. One day, the words will come. Naturally. Without fear. Without effort. I started reading with more attention. I started whispering the sentences at night. Just a little. Just a few lines. I read slow stories with clear dialogue. How are you? I'm fine, thank you. Do you want some tea? Yes, please. These were not big sentences. But they were real. They were useful. They were what people say. And the more I read, the more I could say. My voice became stronger. My fear became smaller. I stopped worrying about mistakes. Because I had already seen those sentences. I had already felt them. My tongue was ready. My mind was relaxed. My heart was open. That's how bedtime reading helped me speak. Some people say, if you want to speak English, you must speak a lot. That is true. But if you don't know what to say, it's hard. That's why reading helps. It gives you the words. It gives you the music. It gives you the feelings. And when it's time to speak, you don't need to search. You already have everything inside. Even now, before I record a video or speak in English, I read a small story. Just a few lines. It warms up my voice. It softens my mind. It reminds me that I can do this. That I have done this. That the words are already part of me. So if you are afraid to speak, try this, read more. Especially before sleep. Don't try to speak yet. Just read. Whisper if you want. Feel the rhythm. Feel the peace. And trust yourself. Because speaking is not about knowing everything. It's about knowing a little, and using it with heart. And that heart can grow stronger every night, with just one story. Chapter 7. The secret routine that changed my English. Every learner asks this question. What is the best way to learn English? I used to ask the same. I searched online. I watched videos. I read tips. Some people said, study grammar. Others said, speak more. Some said, watch English movies. I tried all these things. They helped a little. But I still felt lost. I still forgot words. I still made mistakes. I still felt afraid to speak. Then, one day, I stopped everything. I sat on my bed. I opened a book. A small story. Just one page. I read it slowly. With peace. With feeling. I closed the book. I turned off the light. I closed my eyes. And something inside me said, this is it. This is the way. This is your way. That night became the start of my secret routine. The routine that changed everything. Every night, before sleep, I followed just 3 steps. Step 1. I chose a simple English book. Not too long. Not too hard. A story with feelings. A story with short sentences. Sometimes it was about love. Sometimes it was about animals. Sometimes it was just a letter or a small conversation. Step 2. I read 1 or 2 pages only. Slowly. I read each word with care. I did not rush. I did not worry. If I liked a sentence, I read it again. I let the words sit in my heart. I smiled when I understood something new. I closed the book when I felt full. Step 3. I whispered 1 line from the book. Just 1. I said it softly, like a prayer. I let it float in the air. Then I closed my eyes. And I slept. That sentence stayed with me. Like a friend. Like a dream. This simple bedtime routine became my habit. My secret. My power. I did it every night. No matter what. Even when I was tired. Even when I was sad. Even when I was busy. It was my gift to myself. Just 10 minutes. Just 1 small story. But it gave me so much. My English became softer. Stronger. My fear became smaller. My words became real. My thinking changed. I started to speak without panic. Without stress. Because I already knew the words. I already felt the language. Night by night. Page by page. Some people want fast results. They want to speak perfectly in 1 month. But I learned slowly. Quietly. Like a seed growing underground. I did not see it at first. But then, one day, my English bloomed. I could speak. I could write. I could understand. All because of this small, quiet routine. Reading before sleep is not just about learning English. It is about loving English. Feeling it. Living with it. It is about peace, not pressure. Connection, not correction. Joy, not judgment. I still follow this routine today. I still keep my book next to my pillow. Sometimes I read an old story again, and it still feels fresh, still feels warm, still teaches me something new. That's the beauty of stories. They grow with you. If you are learning English, I want you to try this. Just for 1 week. Choose one easy book. Read 1 page before sleep. Feel the words. Whisper 1 line. Sleep with English in your heart. And see what happens. I believe you will feel the change. Not fast, but deep. Not loud, but true. This is the way I learned. And this is the way you can learn too. With peace. With love. With 1 story a night. If this video helped you, please like it, subscribe to my channel, and comment below. Speech Balloon, what English book will you read before sleeping tonight? I want to hear your answer. And I want to keep helping you. Because your English matters. And your dreams do too. Good night, and keep reading. Sparkles